Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in. Man, it's the end of the week. If you guys are like me, you're probably happy to see it arrive. It has been a crazy week. But you know me, if you're still standing, you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. And everything is about progressing. And one thing that I like to share with those that I work with is that this isn't about a life of ease. This is about a life of reward. Those that tend to be searching for ease tend to find the corner of comfort and anchor themselves in that area of familiarity that allows them to kind of just be okay. That's not where you find greatness. That's not where you find phenomenal. That's not where you train yourself for the extraordinary. That's where you simply exist. That's where you become a part of the box full of people who are classified as average. You weren't designed for average. And there are times I have to remind myself that what I'm going through, what I'm pushing myself through is because I'm here for a purpose. And the thing is, you have to be willing to face some challenges. And a lot of people won't tell you that. A lot of people want to dress it up for you. A lot of people want to tell you, you just do this, you just do this. And then it's just, no, it's about waking up every day. It's about, first of all, being in your purpose and your passion gives you a place where you wake up every day to do something that you absolutely love doing. That's the first thing. So then everything else around that is is ancillary in nature, meaning that it's not the direct. The direct thing here for me is impacting lives. Everything else is secondary. Impacting lives. The people in my family, the people I love, I impact them in one way. The people that I coach, counsel, and consult, I impact them another way. The people who read my content, watch my content, come to my events, I impact them another way. But the goal is to be an impact, an influence, a guide, a model, a representation. And what I have to tell you is you can't possibly be that. And you're going to be that in your own way. Everybody's here to make an impact. Everybody's here to leave their imprint on the world. The problem is so many people never pick up their gift. And today is Focus Friday. So we're going to talk about why focus is important. We're going to talk about picking up the gift. We're going to talk about a bunch of things. Before I do, there are three things I want to share with you real briefly. This is business, so let's get it out of the way. Number one, it's funny that we're talking about focus today because my next book, which drops on April 8th, which is a Saturday. I'm doing it on a Saturday because that's one of my daughter's birthday. And I just wanted to recognize that day. But anyway, I am dropping book number 26, Transcendent, The Remarkable Ability to Rise Above Chaos and Win, to win. This is my 26th book. I'm excited about it. And it's important to understand. And we're going to talk about focus and why it's important and what's going on with the chaos. The idea is that it can't be chaotic. Well, life is going to become chaotic. What do? Sit around, wait for the chaos to end? Or do you find a way to thrive in chaos? And that's what this book about. The book is about transcending chaotic times, situation, moments in life to thrive, to learn how to move in it, not be shaken by it. You can pre-order that book now. It's like I say, the official release day is April 8th, but you can pre-order it now and get it for $9.99, basically $10 less. The link is in the description box. Also, this is the final day for the other two offers that I offered at the top of the week. The first one is my rapid change session, which is regularly $450. It's now being offered for the remainder of the day. It's been up all week. I told you it was going to be a limited time. Today is the last day. It's $175. That's more than 50% off, but you're also going to get 2 complimentary sessions go along with that. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It's high intensive. It's highly intensive. It's meant to find points and opportunities for immediate change, for immediate transformation. It has to be connected with something long term, but it gets you started in the right direction, something that you can literally step on and step out and say, I'm better off than I was yesterday. And there's a way to do that. And there's a way to continue that. And I'm giving you 3 sessions for less than half the price of one. It ends today though. And then it goes back to the regular price, the regular offer. And maybe I'll offer something on it next time. I don't know if it'll be 175, but right now it's 175. After the day, it goes back to 450, and the complimentary sessions will no longer be added. And finally, there is the bronze coaching package free upgrade. My bronze coaching package is probably the second most popular package. Believe it or not, my platinum package is the most popular, because even the people who get the bronze end up eventually going to the platinum. But the bronze package is $3,500. That is 12 sessions over 12 weeks. It is life-changing. But for the remainder of the day, if you register for the bronze package, you will be upgraded to for free to the gold package, which is 26 weeks, 26 sessions, and regularly priced at $79.50, so $7,950. So that is quite a savings, more than half again. And I'm offering that for the remainder of the day. So for those of you who have said, man, I would love to work with Dr. Wallace, I wonder what it's like to work with Dr. Wallace, here's some opportunities to do so. So that's that. Here we are. And you have often heard me say, whatever you focus on, you feel. And people say, what do you mean by that? Life is existing in a multiple facet, multiple spectrum arena or way of existing. And what I mean by that, there isn't this singular reality at any time. There are multiple things going on all the time. This is why I wrote Transcendent, because chaos isn't the all or abrupt presentation of chaotic events at one time. Chaos is you focusing on the things that are always there that are going wrong, and to the point that they become the prevalent point in your life. In other words, if you allow yourself to look around you, there's always some things going wrong. This is life. There are going to be good things, there are going to be bad things. The things that determine who gets on in this world and who doesn't is what you focus on. Whatever you focus on, you give power to. Whatever you focus on, you're giving your energy to. Whatever you focus on becomes the bigger thing. So if I'm focusing on the problem and not the solution, guess what becomes big? The problem eventually becomes so huge that it seems unsolvable. It seems improbable that you're going to ever get around, over, or through it. And you start to identify with the problem to the point that now your problem becomes the anchor of your suffering. So what do? You've got to learn how, even in the midst of all of the things that are going on around you, to identify who you are, why you're here, what you're supposed to be doing, and focus on it. Give it your attention. Find a way to put that stuff in the background. And you've got to learn how to do this. You've got to learn how to do it. Prayer, meditation, affirmations, vision boards, conversations with yourself. You're going to have to learn how to visit the moment of importance consistently in the vast arena of chaos. It's going to happen. You've got to learn how to focus on the thing that changes everything. That's how you get through it. If all I see is chaos, it means I'm not focused. And when I'm focused, it doesn't mean that all the things that created the chaos isn't still there. It means that I'm focused on the things that can change the situation, change the trajectory, change my perspective, all of that. You hear me talk about, and the reason I even shared, that was a point in time I didn't talk a lot at all about the things that were going on in my life that were challenging, because I didn't want to give them power. But then I realized that if you're not careful, you're giving this idea, you're giving this presentation that life just is smooth sailing and nothing ever wrong, nothing goes, and that's not the case for me. And there's been nobody that I've been able to talk with connect with, consider my peers, are people that I look up to, people I've been able to interview, whatever. I haven't found the person that's found this utopia where everything is great, everything is grand, and nothing goes wrong. Now, you create this utopia by focusing on the things that you want to see happen in your life. You focus on them, you anticipate them. God, life, the universe meets you at the level of your expectations, not higher. Wherever you are sitting up and thinking things are going to happen, you're literally manifesting and create and executing behavior and ideas and thoughts that are going to produce it. So, in other words, if I want to change my life, I have to raise my expectations. I have to raise my standards. I have to raise what I'm aiming at. Why? Because when I raise it, I raise my level of thinking. I raise the things I'm focused on. I give myself an opportunity to rise above anything. It's not that it's absent, it's that I'm rising above it, transcending. This is so important that you understand that, because there's this idea that winning in life is about circumventing struggle, circumventing pain, circumventing fear, circumventing obstacles, circumventing delay and frustration and disappointment and all these things that other people deal with, or it's about finding a way to no, it's finding a way to see beyond it. It's finding a way to focus on the outcome. The reason that I've been able to do the things that I've been able to do in my life isn't because everything laid down for me. To the contrary, the more I strive, the more I challenge myself to be the best version of myself, the more challenges I meet. The more I demand of myself, the more I decide that I'm going to live life at the level of my design, that I'm going to be everything that God designed me to be, the more challenges I encounter. Because see, rising to the level isn't simply by saying this is where I'm supposed to be. It's about saying, okay, this is what I must become. It's about saying this is what I must do. This is and it's about preparing to be able to do it. And just like if you're going to be fit, preparing for fitness, getting to the point of being fit is a challenge, right? You go to the gym, you're breathing hard. You go to the gym, you're going through fatigue and you're lifting and everything else you're doing. You're going through all kind of discomfort as you try to improve your flexibility and stretching and all of that. And at any point, you can look at it and say, man, this is way too much. And you can sit up and back up and decide this is too much. But guess what? You'll never achieve the level of fitness that you first envisioned. So what do? You sit up and say, no, I'm pushing through it. It's those moments when you push through that discomfort. It's those moments when you push through those setbacks. It's those moments when you look up and say, man, this work. And there are going to be those days we go in and you just don't have it, but you go anyway and you put in what you do have. And it's those days that seem like the worst days that turn out to produce the best results. That day that you don't feel like it, get up and do it anyway. It's the thing you focus on. Again, so I'll say it again. Whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. If you focus on the problem, it's going to become huge. If you focus on all of the things that seem to be out of control, the chaos, the things that seem to be out of your range of management, meaning that you don't have immediate responses to it. You don't know how to shut it down or to adjust it or change it, and it's flowing around you. The more you focus on it, the more chaotic it becomes. You'll look up and you can't find a thought. I've been there. So I'm not sitting up and trying to get you to think that there's never a moment that the chaos is prevalent. What I'm telling you, and there's nobody in this world that can tell you that there aren't moments that the chaos is prevalent. But what people in this world who win will tell you is that those moments are fewer and more far in between than the average person. It means that when you realize that the chaos is ruling in your moment, you step back and say, what is it that I need to focus on? What is it that I need to give my attention to? How do I need to direct and govern my self-talk? What do I need to do to manage my thinking? You guys have followed me. You know, one of my favorite scriptural passages is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3 through 5. Why? Because the psychological implications of what you can do when you accomplish, you do this is unbelievable, because it's telling you how to move in this world. It says, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds. Everything that seems to be blocking you, everything that seems to be pulling and nugging at you, everything that seems to be in your way, everything that seems to be diametrically opposed to this thing that you have set your mind to have. It says, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought, what? Into captivity, into the obedience of Christ. Every thought, every thought. Why? Because when I start managing my thoughts, I'm controlling the seeds of my destiny. Why? Because your thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. You are literally living out the perpetuation of your thinking. Your thinking will determine your beliefs. Your beliefs will impact your thinking. You'll have the cyclical process. If you're not capable, you'll adopt beliefs that will have you thinking in a certain way that is diametrically opposed, that is in direct opposition of what it is you say you want. So what do? You have to consistently visit, by way of thought management, what it is you're supposed to be doing, what it is that you want, what it is. And I'm telling you, it gets hard. Here's why. Because there's this part of you that wants to focus on the circumstance. There's this part of you that wants to focus on the situation. The situation and circumstances are by nature, by definition, momentary, meaning that they will change. But if I focus on them, they become big, they become more impactful. And what happens is my thinking starts to align with the circumstance and not my purpose, the circumstance and not my destiny, the third circumstance and not my goal. So what happens? I start to literally produce through my thinking behavior that is in alignment with the current situation, and it becomes a part of my long-term reality because I focused on the wrong thing. So then what do? We have to sit up and understand when we are focusing on the wrong. And I'm telling you, there are things coming. There are times when I'm sitting up and I'm looking, but I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. And what I'll actually do is the very thing that is so counterintuitive to what I instinctively want to do. And that's just sit down and work, 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 work. I'm going to work my way out of it. Well, number one is there's so much only so much time in a day. Number two, there's only so much intellectual energy. You literally get more mentally exhausted as you make decisions and choices during the day. There's a thing called decision fatigue. And it means that when you first wake up in the morning, you're refreshed, you go through your refreshing routine. Those are the times to make the most important decisions. As your day goes, you become more fatigued mentally, you become more foggy. And obviously there are things you can do. You can take a nap, whatever, to refresh yourself. But the best time is in the early part of the day. Well, then that means that if I'm going through this part of the day and I'm dealing with all of this confusion and chaos, I'm probably not just going to sit down and hammer my way through it, because what I need to do is think my way through it. But what I also need to realize is I'm probably a little intellectually fatigued. And so what do I need to do? I actually move against what I'm intuitively thinking and I stop. Because if all my energy and effort is focused in the wrong direction, it's taking me away from where I need to be. So what I need to do is stop. It's just like if you're lost, just walking frantically won't get you to where you're going. You need to stop, regain your bearings, look around, try to find landmarks, try to find something familiar, try to find something that gives you a sense and an idea where you're at. Maybe you're looking in the sky. You were taught to look for certain celestial, whatever you want to call them right now. But markers in the sky, other things, you may be looking at the sun and where it's at and what time of day it is. And it's going to tell you where north, east, south, and west is. And you regain your bearings and what? You find your way to where you're trying to go. Same thing in a moment of chaos, a moment of confusion, a moment of nebulosity and cloudiness and whatever's going on. You stop. Say, what should I be focusing on? Find the thing you're going to focus on and put in the work. Now, here's where it gets real challenging. When you have a circumstance that's unfavorable, when you have a situation that's unfavorable, when things aren't aligning the way you want to, at the very moment, it will zap you emotionally. And what happens normally when you're zapped emotionally? Your energy leaves and the desire to do things aren't at their highest. You're sitting there, and what do you want to do? You just want to kind of fold. And that's how you can, that's one of the ways that you can sink into a depression, is constantly focusing on what isn't right, not being cognitively aware of that, of the fact that you're focusing and entertaining negative thoughts that are moving not only on the surface, but underneath the surface in your subconscious. And before you know it, you're in this space and you don't know how to get out. Here's the thing. What you got to do is sit up and say, okay, I've slowed down. I've identified the thing I'm going to focus on. That's the thing I'm going to do. And then you tell yourself, you're going to do this. This isn't about how you feel. This is about what's necessary. Life isn't about how you feel. Yes, you want to feel good. Yes, you want to have joy. You want to experience happiness. But there are times that you're not going to be in a place where you feel like doing it, but it needs to be done. That's what will determine the outcome of your life. That's the measure of your character. That is an expression of your integrity. That says, I said I was, and I am. I might be a week behind. I might be a month behind. I might be a year behind. But what I'm going to do is finish what I said I'm going to do. So I'm going to anchor myself into this responsibility to honor my promises to myself first. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm never going to tell somebody it's easy. What I'm going to tell them is it's possible. And in many times it's simple, or it can be simplified, meaning that there are just some steps you're doing. When you do those steps, you're going to get results. The thing is, it's going to require you to be committed. The problem that I see with a bunch of people not committed, they want it, but they're not set to go the distance. They want it, but they're not prepared to take the hits. They want it, but they want it right now. If it's requiring anything more than 6 months, I'm not doing it. If it's requiring anything more than a couple of years, it can't be, it's not for me. Here's my mindset. Here's my mindset. My mindset is, if it's for me, it's invaluable. Meaning, I don't care how much time it takes to have it. I don't care how much energy it takes. I don't care what I've got to invest in having it. If I determine it's something that I should have, it's got to have value to it. I'm not trying to get things anymore in my life because I think people will like it. I'm not trying to get things in life anymore because I think people are going to look at me and go, ooh, I gave up a long time ago this idea that I'm trying to impress people with my things. So what I'm chasing now is the capacity to impact. What I'm chasing now is a higher level of elevation. So I have a higher capacity to do things positive that change other people's lives. Am I looking to make sure I'm good financially? Absolutely. That's a part of my responsibility, not only to myself, but to my family. And what I can tell you is every last one of those things that I'm desiring to do can be disrupted, interrupted, shut down, delayed at any time. But my thing is, if I've said I'm going to do it, it has value. And it's invaluable in what I'm willing to give to it, because I'm not just going out there chasing stuff. I look at it and I ask myself, are you willing to go the distance? How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough to get knocked down? Do you want it bad enough to go through some hardship? Do you want it bad enough to be pushed to the edge? Do you want it bad enough to sit up and have people looking at you thinking you're crazy? Do you want it bad enough to face ridicule? Do you want it bad enough that sometimes it has you baffled? Because these are the things that I know are coming. There's going to be delay. There's going to be disappointment. There's going to be frustration. There's going to be setbacks. There are going to be times that people are just simply not going to like what I do, how I do it, or whatever. There are going to be times that I'm sitting up and maybe I'm moving and I'm a little off. And that's something else. I want to visit that real briefly. I'm not going to take much time, but I want to visit this real briefly. There's going to be some times because none of us are perfect. There are going to be some times you're looking at what you're doing and you're questioning who you are. And if you're not careful, we live in a world where we give a great deal of gravity to the opinions of other people. And what you will end up doing is getting caught up and being defined by other people's opinion of who you are. The person that you have to be true to. Yes, if you're married, you need to be true to your spouse. If you have children, you need to be true to your children. If you have friends, you need to be straightforward and true and honest with your friends. But the first person you have to be true to is you. God didn't give your vision to them. God didn't give your gift to them. God gave it to you. And so it's between you and God. Now, the right people in your life are going to recognize the gift. The right people in your life is going to recognize the potential. The right people in your life are going to understand you're not perfect. The right people in your life are going to pull you to the side and say, hey, look, seems like you're a little off your game right now. Seems like you're kind of moving XYZ. And I think, I'm a little concerned. What about this? I'm here in your corner with you, but I just want to let you know what I'm noticing, what I'm seeing. And you need those type of people. You don't need a bunch of yes men because that's not fanning your flames. That's setting you up to crash. Anybody that won't tell you when they're watching you do something that is destroying your life and your future is not a friend. They're not a confidant. They're not somebody you want in your immediate periphery or circle. You want people who will fan your flames. You want people who will inspire you. You want people who will encourage you. You want people who are going to sit up and say, you know what? You didn't do what you said you were going to do today. What's up with that? And you're gonna know they care because they're the ones that are constantly behind you when you're doing right, cheering for you. But you got to have somebody that's willing to tell you, hey, your stuff stink like everybody else's. So you're gonna have to be on your A game. You don't get to have passes. And so this is the thing. There isn't this guy or female that has everything going right. Now, there are some people who think they do. There are some people think their game is just all that and nothing's wrong. They're doing everything right. And if it's something wrong, it's because of somebody else. And it's going to be hard to tell that person anything different because that's their perception of them in this world is that they've got all the answers. They're doing it right. They can't possibly be wrong. And everything that's going wrong in their life is because somebody else is doing it. You got to let them figure it out and get to a point to where they're ready to acknowledge that this is my life. So whatever's going on in it, it starts with me. Doesn't mean that there aren't some people in it doing some stuff. Yeah, you're going to have people that are going to make it their business to try to undercut you in whatever way that is. And that's their character. That's something going on with them. They just happen to be in your life. That's why it's important to govern who's in your periphery, who's in your immediate circle, who are the people who have the most impact on how you're thinking, how you're experiencing your reality, what you're expecting, what you're challenging yourself to do, because association brings about assimilation, which means you tend to act like the people you spend the time around. So who you want around you? People who are successful, people who can see a vision and go after it, people who are goal oriented, people who have a level of success. This is what you want to achieve, and this is what you should be striving for. But you got to focus on what? The things that matter. You don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution. You don't focus on the situation or the circumstance, you focus on the outcome. When you're able to sit up and look and say, well, hey, this is what's going on with me. I don't like what's happening right now. What can I do to change it? And Here's what I'm going to leave you with. Be prepared to go the distance. So much is lost because we live in this microwave society where everybody wants something now. If it doesn't happen now, we've got a built-in reason to put it down and go somewhere else. It's just not God's plan for me. It must not be in God's will. Well, if we're talking God and we're using ancient scripture as a means of understanding the character of God, then we have to understand that God will not withhold any good thing, that God created this universe as a means of consistent, perpetual abundance. And that when you have a desire to do right and do good, there's nothing that can be withheld from you. Now, here's the thing. Just because it's not withheld doesn't mean that it isn't. There aren't requisites and requirements and things you're going to have to do to have it. See, it's not about what you want. It's about who you are. And if you don't get that, you're going to get frustrated because you're going to look up and you're going to say, well, they got it. Why can't I have it? Well, it must not be meant for me. No, you've got to put in the work. You've got to pick up the books. You've got to take the courses. You've got to learn underneath somebody. You've got to find somebody who can write the plan for you. You've got to go through whatever processes are necessary to drop all of the things that don't work for you. Your thinking, your habits, your behavior, your associations. See, another thing is people love talking about leaving your past behind, but what a lot of people don't talk about is the importance of understanding that there are some things in your present life that you're going to have to let go of in order to grasp something greater. Everybody talks about climbing the ladder, but nobody ever looks at the practical physical dynamic of climbing. And so everybody wants to hang on to what they have and stay safely anchored, both feet on the ladder, both hands on the rung. Here's the problem with that. The only way that you climb a ladder is you're going to have to let go one hand and one foot. So that means what? Number one, let go of what you already have to grab something higher. But also in the process of doing that, you're more at risk. Why? Because you're not completely stabilized because you've released in order to reach. What is it telling you? It's telling you that there's a risk in climbing, but there's also a reward. And you got to ask yourself, are you willing to take the risks in order to get the reward? If not, don't even start. Don't even go to the ladder if you're not willing to take the risk. And so this is the thing. Focus on the things that matter. Focus on the things that are going to bring you the results. When you find yourself drifting, have a practice. There are a bunch of different practices: journaling, meditation, spoken affirmations, listening to affirmations, whatever it takes to remind you of who you are, remind you of what you're supposed to be doing, remind you of where you're going, remind you that this is a part of your design and your gift by God, and that God gave you the purpose. He's already provided the providence. You simply have to walk in it. See, purpose doesn't come without providence. See, the moment that you had the purpose, the moment that you had the gifting, you had the providence. But the thing is, we're waiting on life to lay down for us. So we don't push through hard moments. We quit. We quit on our dreams. We quit on our visions. We quit on our jobs. We quit on our relationships. We quit on things because they become difficult and challenging, not realizing that it's in the midst of the challenge that something transformative takes place. That's where you become. Inside of the challenge is where you become. Let's visit one thing. I know I said I was done, but let's visit one thing. I really want to bless you. I really want to bless you. I really want to help you here. Look, if you want to talk about Bible stories and Bible characters, one of the most celebrated by far is David, right? And David becomes famous how? By what? Killing Goliath with a stone. And so David slays the giant. But what you have to realize is that wasn't an overnight success. David didn't just pop up out of nowhere and slay Goliath. If you remember, when God decided to replace Saul as king, he sent Solomon to go find, not Solomon, he sent Samuel to go find this anointing. He sent him to Jesse's house, and he looked at Eliab and all the other brothers, and he kept saying, okay, this is the one. And God said, that's not him. That's not him. And so he looks at Jesse and says, is there another kid that we're missing? He said, yeah, the youngest one is out there in the field keeping the sheep. And if you study the Hebrew, it doesn't just say keeping the sheep. It says David kept on keeping the sheep. There was a consistency about how David performed his duty and his responsibility. Now, it tells you that whenever a lion or a bear came up, David would take on the lion and the bear to protect the sheep. David was developing a level of confidence, a level of strength, a level of strategy, a level of approach. He was going through some things. It wasn't just, I'm going to pop up and I'm going to be a giant slayer. I'm going to take on things in this life that's going to challenge me and prepare me to take on something greater. So when he shows up and he's out there and he's listening to the insults being hurled by Goliath, he says, what will the king do for the man who slays this person? And they take him in, and Saul is like, hey, you're a kid. You're just a kid. And he's a grown man who's been a warrior and a killer since he was a kid. You're not prepared for this. But what did God tell Jeremiah when Jeremiah said, I'm just a kid? He says, do not say you are a youth, because before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you and I ordained you. Before you were ever conceived, you had purpose in this world. And being young doesn't disqualify you. Being old doesn't disqualify you. Being from an impoverished background doesn't disqualify you. You have a place in this world. You're meant to have an impact. Don't just say and dismiss what's going on. So David told him, no, you don't understand something. I kept my father's sheep. And when the lion and the bear came up to take the sheep, I took them and I killed them with my hands. This uncircumcised Philistine is going to be just like one of them. I built for this moment. My situations and circumstance built me for the battle. So in essence, you got to understand wherever you're going through right now, it's preparing you for something. You simply got to frame it in a context that lets you understand that it's not here to destroy you. It's not here to tear you down. It's not here to break you. It's here to build you. And I want to leave you with that. So it's what you focus on. What are you giving your attention to? I hope that you're able to take something from this. I hope that you are able to start to focus and process the importance of what you give your time and your attention to, because it's going to also determine the outcome. Nobody has a life where they are never shaken. Nobody has a life where they are always in 100% control. It may look like it on the outside because they've been trained and conditioned not to become frenetic, not to become unglued, not to become hyper emotional when things aren't going their way. So it may seem like they never get flustered. No, they see it and it gets them, but they immediately understand the importance of shifting into a mindset that is capable of pulling them through what they're going through at the very moment. It's not about escaping the challenge. It's not about finding a life empty of chaos. It's about finding a way to focus despite it. Okay, and that's it. Look, as I said at the beginning, if you want to pre-order my 26th book, Transcendent, the remarkable ability to rise above chaos and to win, the link is in there. You pre-order it, you're going to get it at $9.99 less than what it's going to be released at on April 8th. Also, this is the last day to get a discounted price on the rapid change session, plus get 2 free complimentary sessions. That offers in the description box. And finally, this is the last day to register for a bronze package, which is 12 weeks, and get a free upgrade to a gold package, which is 26 weeks. That's in there. So On that note, look, I'm going to get out of here. I got a lot to get done today, but I'm challenging you. Focus on the things that carry weight and are representative of the outcome you desire. Stop giving your time, energy, and focus to the problem and start focusing on the solution. That's my challenge to you. Like I said, I hope you guys take advantage of some of those things to work with me because I'm really evolving. I'm actually working right now with a team on a intensive program, which is going to be a thing where I get with a person or a group and spend a weekend with them. Uh, and we get things worked out in that weekend. It's probably going to be a 2-day weekend on location somewhere. And we're working on that. But I'm going to be doing less and less of the one-on-ones because it takes so much out of me and it takes so much time and it limits the number of people I can help. I'm really encouraging you to, while they're still there, the opportunities are there to take advantage of them. Stay tuned for these intensives. I'm excited about that. Uh, I've been thinking about it for a while and somebody brought it to my attention again. And so I decided to act on it. There's a lot going on for us at Rick Wallace Enterprises and our flagship, which is the Visionetics Institute. So I'm excited. Again, keep your head up, keep focused, understand that this isn't about circumventing all of the negative stuff. It's about thriving despite of it, focusing on the things that matter. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. And as I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I challenge you to do the same thing.